for years, Hollywood's been on fire with people knowing the truth about 9/11, and I was the first to expose 9/11 on the day. In fact, 2 months before, I had intel that elements of the military-industrial complex are going to carry out the attack. I said they'll use Bin Laden, the known CIA asset, as their patsy to take the blame for attacking the towers.
Things that makes everybody wonder why Bill's life was snuffed out in 2001 was because in June of that year, Osama Bin Laden, who was a relative unknown at that time, Bill had been following the news and found a lot of curiosities and went on the air predicting that there would be a major attack in the United States and that it would be blamed on Osama Bin Laden, but he was literally the scapegoat that was being used, not truly behind the attack.
Before we get started, I'd like to clear up a little discrepancy here. Apparently the other night, or within the last week, because I've been getting a lot of email about this, and even received one telephone call. Apparently somebody called the Alex Jones broadcast and asked him why he didn't have me on the air, or asked him something about me. Alex Jones said he had me on the air once before, several years ago, and had to cut me off the air because of the foul language that I used. So on the air tonight, I'm going to tell you, Alex Jones, you are a bold-faced, miserable, stinking little coward liar.
So the summer of 2001, you go on TV, time-stamped, and say someone's going to fly planes into the World Trade Centers. They're going to blame Osama bin Laden, call the Bush White House, warn them. You basically called 9/11 in detail. You're the only one who did, and we can prove that. It's not a guess. You're the only one who did, and we can prove that. It's not a guess. You're the only one who did, and we can prove that. It's not a guess. We have the tape. I've played the tape. 9/11 happens in September. There's a 9/11 commission immediately impaneled. They go and interview a bunch of people in the U.S. government and outside and ask, were there signs that this was happening? They don't interview you. You're the one guy who predicted it in public. You're the only guy who predicted it in public. And no, you're the one guy who predicted it in public. You're the only guy who predicted it in public. And no, you're the one guy who predicted it in public. You're the only guy who predicted it in public. And no one calls you to ask, how the hell did you know that? Which is the obvious question. Then they set about trying to destroy you. Rather than hailing you as a prophet, or at least asking the question, how the hell did Alex Jones know in detail this was coming? How did you know? They never even ask you. And then they mobilized DOJ and FBI against you. And I think there's a connection between those two facts. You were right. I was wrong, not for the first time. But the 9/11 thing, I remember that really well. Nobody was thinking like that. So you called it in public on tape. Did the 9/11 commission? So if I'm the FBI and I'm investigating 9/11, you're like the first guy I would call, because you're the only person who said that out loud. Because you're the only person who said that out loud. Because you're the only person who said that out loud. Did they call you?
No, they didn't.
And then I ask you how your battles with the U.S. government are going in its attempts to silence you. How do you, if you have this ability, which you do, I'm not sucking up, it's just, again, it's provable, to put together a picture, an extraordinarily accurate picture of what the future holds. What does that do to you? How do you sleep, and how do you live? And why haven't you totally destroyed yourself? Those are kind of not thoughts that most people, including me, are burdened with and don't really want to be burdened with. But how do you turn off the visions of the future in your head?
Well, I appreciate you saying nice things about me, and obviously God gives us all different gifts, and I do have some gifts. But I think a lot more people have these gifts than really realize it.
But you can prove it. That's why I've obviously we're friends, and I like you as a man. But you can prove it in a way that others can't, because it's on tape. So it's not really debate. Has Alex Jones had more accurate predictions of the future than any living person in the world that I know of? We can prove that. We don't have to argue about it. I've got the freaking tape. So again, it's not even a compliment. It's just an observation. And I don't know why I seem to be the only person who's obsessed with this. How did this guy predict this? No, everyone's like, oh, he's crazy. Okay, maybe he's crazy, but he predicted this. So my question is what does that do to you?
I mean, it is stressful, the responsibility of constantly researching and looking at all, culture, pop culture. That's where a lot of the real brainwashing's at. That's where a lot of the predictive programming and manipulation goes on.
Yes.
Real case examples of that being done by our government and other governments. And I saw a lot of pre-programming in the news. Oh, Osama Bin Laden's going to get us. When he gets us, we need to give up all of our rights, and it'll be a new America, and we've got to set up this police state. So I saw a lot of pre-programming.
But you called the specifics. You called the specifics of 9/11. I just can't get past that. And I've asked you in public and private, how did you do that? I've never gotten really a straight answer. I doubt I will now. But the fact remains, the incontrovertible fact, the provable fact that you called it, and then they began a campaign against you. And it's not because you're a racist. You've never been a racist or an anti-Semite or a crazy person, actually. You've never spewed hate. But you have, for 30 years, said the foundations of our system are actually kind of fake and rotten. But it was 9/11. That's when they really decided this guy has to be stopped, and just basically eliminated the First Amendment to stop you.
Well, just to be clear, it's not that I'm dodging how I knew it. That was 24 years ago, and I remember what I was covering and what I was doing at the time. And everybody's seen the July 25th, where I went into detail, but actually my crew, using ChatGPT, scanning through all my old shows, found shows in April and even before that in March. Where I get more specific, and I said the CIA is going to fly planes into the World Trade Centers and blame it on Bin Laden.
So I just think that's the most amazing fact I've ever heard in my entire life, that you called that. And we can prove it because it's on tape with timestamps. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, okay, Alex Jones is crazy. I hate her. Okay, whatever. I don't think that's true. But you called 9/11. And no investigator ever called you to ask you how you called that? How you knew that? Not one.
No.
No one from DOJ. Philip Zelikow of the 9/11 Commission never called you.
No.
Why?
Obviously because certain segments of our intelligence agencies with other foreign intelligence agencies were tracking the supposed hijackers. They were being trained at U.S. military bases. They were being given government money from our government and other governments. They were being protected. Then 2 of their magic passports and all that rubble and hundreds of millions of pieces of paper were found the next day to then connect them to it. It was all laid out. Then the Bin Laden family was flown out of the country in the days after, and that was basically shut down in the news, even though it was covered some locally here in Florida. So I knew that Bin Laden had been CIA going back to really the Mujahideen being set up by Zbigniew Brzezinski and Jimmy Carter. Then Reagan took that over. And then they kind of build that as blowback. But even recently, you've seen the U.S. aid information and other documents come out in the Institute for Peace, where they're directly paying massive amounts of money to Taliban, to Al-Qaeda, to ISIS, even in the last few years.
Oh, yeah.
And they use them as these proxy armies. So that was well known in the research circles that Bin Laden was basically a multinational cutout used by Western intelligence agencies to destabilize areas, but also be a boogeyman. Then you see CNN in a mountain cave magically being able to find him, but the U.S. can't kill him and nobody else can. And I knew that CNN is literally the CIA broadcasting system.
For sure.
That CNN is literally the CIA broadcasting system.
For sure.
Total Mockingbird, Thoroughbred. And there were hundreds and hundreds of points that went in, but okay, Bin Laden's worked for the CIA, and you got CNN interviewing him, and they're all scaring us, saying he's about to attack us. And then I remembered how Ahmad Salam, who was an Egyptian intelligence agency operative working for the FBI and CIA, was hired to build a bomb in the early 90s to blow up the World Trade Center. But then when they said build a real bomb, he started recording them because he started figuring out it was a setup. And then he had that press conference where he played it. And I interviewed him a few times where the FBI said, no, just go ahead and let it go forward. And so you start adding all that together. They'd already tried to hit the World Trade Center before. The World Trade Center had a lot of issues in it with asbestos and also some of the structural issues. So they were already wanting to have a plan to get rid of it. And then you have the CIA and FBI in the Solomon Brothers building, Building 7, the 47-story skyscraper. You have that right next door. So I looked at all of it and I thought, where would the new Pearl Harbor be? And the year before in the Project for American Century, headed up by Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney wrote in there that we need a new Pearl Harbor event to launch the Pax Americana, but it wasn't an American empire of freedom and liberty and justice like Trump's trying to, launch. It was a globalist empire of military enforcement and tyranny. And so there was a lot of other data points that went into it. Cheney also writes in that same document, we need to look at race-specific bioweapons to have control and bring in our power. And that was actually picked up in the newspapers.
Okay, so these are not minor issues. These are like the biggest things happening in the world. Mm-hmm. The most important things happening in the world. And the end of one system, ushering in of a new system. Millions in the end died because of all of this. Millions. And you're on like cable access in Texas figuring this out. Like, where is everybody else? I don't understand. Like, I worked at CNN at the time. And we had as you said, Peter Bergen went and interviewed Bin Laden. I'm not attacking Peter Bergen, but like, how come you were the only one who figured this out? How come you were the only one who figured this out? How come you were the only one who figured this out?
Yeah, by that time, I started out in 94 as a guest on Access TV and had my own show by 95, but I was on local talk radio. I just started getting, I've been syndicated a few years then, but I mean, you're right. I was on Access TV as well. And that's where
you were like way out on the fringe. And all the people at the very center of our business, journalism, like they didn't see or didn't talk publicly about any of this, none of this.
Well, I saw Gary Hart on with another guest.
Gary Hart, the former presidential candidate, senator from Colorado.
I think it was the Hart-Rubin Commission.
Yeah.
I saw him in Congress with testimony earlier that year, and also saw him on, I believe it was CNN or maybe it was Chris Matthews, MSNBC, but the clip's famous. And they say the world's about to change. There's about to be big things happening, big attacks.
When was this?
It was in early July.
It was before 9/11.
Yes, and they were very specific. Somebody should find that clip, can crowdsource that. And that was the final catalyst because they were basically telling the establishment, very thinly veiled, what was about to go on. So I sat back, I looked at it, and I thought years later, how did I come up with that? Because I don't just say a bunch of stuff, then most of it doesn't come true. I'm very specific on predictions, and almost all of them have come true. I thought that it was the spinoff of the X-Files, and I wasn't even an X-Files fan, rarely watched it, called The Lone Gunman, that it turns out had come out in the spring of 2001 that I didn't even learn about because there wasn't, Facebook and Twitter and X back then. So if you didn't watch those entertainment shows, you didn't know about it. And then 6 months or so after 9/11, listeners start saying, have you seen this? And I had listeners send me VHS recordings off Fox TV of this episode where a criminal group in the U.S. government hijacks a jumbo jet in New York to fly it in the World Trade Center to blame it on a Central Asian terrorist so that they have a pretext to take over domestically with a police state and launch wars in the Middle East.
Wait, this was on the X-Files?
Yes, this was on the X-Files. And so later I thought maybe I got it from that. But then we found tapes even earlier, a month before that came out, where I had put it together on the radio. But here's what's crazy. Then I got reached out by some of the hosts of the X-Files saying, hey, Chris Carter told us that the CIA came to him with the plot of this and asked him some of the scripts that they would ask him as a favor to put this in as a TV program. And then later I corresponded with Chris Carter via email. He talked about this in the news, like in entertainment publications, about, Alex Jones is a really good guy. And when they rebooted in 2016 again, he talked about the talk show host characters based on me. So I've talked to him, some of his crew, but he said, no, I don't know why the CIA, you used to interview him, came to me and said, here's the script for this show. So it wasn't just Alex Jones saying that a government agency was going to hijack a jet and fly the World Trade Center. The X-Files spinoff, The Lone Gunman, one of its main episodes was about that specific story.
This is just crazy. So I often get, people I know saying,
and they remote control and hijack the jet, the good guys, and keep it from crashing the World Trade Center. So why would the CIA come to Chris Carter and say, we want you to write this, and then it's released months and months before 9/11? So I'm not the only one. So I'm not the only one. So I'm not the only one. It was in the collective unconsciousness. I don't know.
So in a normal world that rewarded, excellence and prescience, you'd be a billionaire because of your predictive powers. Huge companies, governments hire people who can piece together fragments of evidence to create an accurate picture of the future. That's a huge business. I know a lot of people in that business. George Friedman, guys like that, are really, really smart people. But you've got the best track record of all. And I think it's so telling that rather than reward you for this or call you up and be like, Alex Jones, you're like, what do you think's coming next? They're like, no, we must eliminate our own First Amendment to destroy your life, which is what they've done. That seems like a pretty clear indicator of their guilt to me.
Well, what they don't want is compartmentalize good people in industry and government, not just here but around the world, to listen to what I'm saying, go check it out for themselves, find out everything I just said is on record. Anybody can just type in anything I said, and it's from their own documents. And then people will basically put the glasses on like they live and see it for themselves. I'm not telling them what to see like the corporate media does, brainwashing people and selling them a lie that two men can have a baby and there's no X and Y chromosomes and communism's great and open borders are wonderful. No, I'm simply saying see this for yourself. I liken it to those hidden image paintings. And when you first can't see the hidden image, you're like, I can't see. Once you do see it, you can't unsee it. So I'm only trying to get people to go look at what I'm pointing out and find out.
Like, do what we say or we'll hurt you.
Right.
That's not a religion I want to be anywhere near.
Me neither.
No, that's bad.
It doesn't sound loving. Doesn't sound forgiving.
No, it sounds dangerous, actually.
It does.
Sounds kind of like Al-Qaeda a little bit. So I just think, and it's sad because who acts like that? Only people who know they're wrong act like that.
Interesting. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's actually a line in the book that I don't know where I read this or heard this, but somebody smarter than me described science as an ongoing historical series of corrected mistakes.
Exactly.
How about that?
Yes. Yeah, it's just kind of institutional. It's a method for satisfying curiosity and understanding the physical world. And I'm totally for that, completely for that. But at its heart is skepticism and an acknowledgement that you don't know the answers to the most obvious questions. And so keep trying to find the answers.
Sure.
I'm 100% in favor of all of that, of course. But what it's become is the medieval church, brittle, rigid, punitive, stupid, laughable. And the second you describe it with no emotion, any normal person's like, well, that's insane. I don't want to be part of that.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But I'm, I'm not, I'm not going to try to solve the unsolvable.
Right.
And I'm fine being completely mystified by it.
Well, that's the beginning of wisdom.
You know what I'm
to
saying?
admit you're mystified. Right.
Yeah.
Because you're admitting you're not all knowing.
No. Yeah. And yeah, for sure. Not all knowing.
Well, speaking of mysteries, how did you wind up knowing Alex Jones?
How did I wind up knowing Alex Jones? It was his early videos. It was his early documentaries. It was the stuff he produced himself, like on VHS.
How could you have seen that?
How did I see it originally?
You're like in Los Angeles making movies.
Yeah.
It's wild.
I've always been a guy that just needs to peek behind the curtain. I've always been a guy that's done my own research. Always been a guy that just not always satisfied with the official story about anything.
Good.
And, I create fiction for a living.
Yes.
So I'm pretty good at spotting it. In people.
Hold on, I just want to pause on that.
Yeah.
I create fiction for a living. I'm pretty good at spotting it. Yeah.
It's a good quote, right?
It's a great quote.
It's true.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so, it was his early documentaries. It was the stuff he produced himself, like on VHS.
How could you have seen that?
How did I see it originally?
You're like in Los Angeles making movies.
Yeah.
It's wild.
I've always been a guy that just needs to peek behind the curtain. I've always been a guy that's done my own research. Always been a guy that just not always satisfied with the official story about anything.
Good.
And, I create fiction for a living.
Yes.
So I'm pretty good at spotting it. In people.
Hold on, I just want to pause on that.
Yeah.
I create fiction for a living. I'm pretty good at spotting it. Yeah.
It's a good quote, right?
It's a great quote.
It's true.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so, Dad played both Kennedys, when we were growing up. So we had access to JFK stuff that wasn't in the public sphere, documentaries and unedited Zapruder stuff. And so we were, I talked with Rogan about this a little bit last week, and we were, so we always had to, we're just raised to, take a deeper dive. Look at things just with a more through a more polished lens, or skeptical lens. And so, be it JFK or 9/11 or Oak City or Columbine.
We just did 9/11 doc, and it was an amazing experience for me to be involved in this because I not only bought the 9/11 story, I was very resistant to anyone who questioned it because it felt like disrespectful or desecrating the grave. I don't know why I had that incredibly embarrassing, not at all noble reaction to people's honest questions about 9/11. So it took me a long time to want to rethink it. And then once you do, you realize like it's just a tissue of lies. At what point did you start asking questions about it?
04, 05, whenever Loose Change dropped.
Yeah.
That was the first. Well, no, actually on the day.
Really?
On the day. Yeah, there were things, Emilio and I had because everybody like rushed to Malibu. We were like in the city. I was in a high rise. I didn't know how far this thing reached, like everybody just had to get back to the folks' house. Like, let's reassemble at base camp, And Emilio and I were out on the deck, and I said, man.
At your parents'?
Yeah. Yeah. And I said, there's something about the way that building came down. I don't know. And by that point, we had seen different angles of it, and it was really, there was a lot of content to digest, horrific content, might I add. And we just, and then I just thought, nah, because that would entail,
of course, right,
all of these things.
You just shut it down in your head.
We talked each other out of it because that would entail. Right.
It's interesting though that two guys in the business of like manufacturing images,
right,
would focus on that image and say that or something about that. That's weird,
right? And so I kind of just let it, just didn't go near it.
Yeah.
And then, it led to what it led to. The whole world was different. The whole world was different.
It's never returned to what it was.
No, it really hasn't. No, there's pre and there's post.
Yes.
And then I watched that documentary. I'd been, a fan of Alex's early stuff, and that's, just him.
So you knew who he was by 9/11?
Yeah.
How did I? He's my friend. I would mean no disrespect. I love him. He's coming here in a month, but I'd never heard of Alex Jones on 9/11. And I was in the news business. I don't know. How would you have heard of him? That's amazing.
Just, spending time like in those, on those research channels just in that part of those subjects,
It's interesting that you have long felt like you want to look at other sources of information.
Of course. Yeah. I've always done my own research, always. And then, do you know other people? Did you know other people around 9/11 who already were thinking like this? Like maybe reality as presented to us is not entirely real. People would believe things only so far. Yes. And so I would back off and I say, you know what? We're just gonna focus on two things. We're just two things. And if you can explain those, I'll submit to the official story. I'll just say, all right, fine. However you say it had to play out, I'm in, right? And it was. But explain these anomalies first. It was Building 7 in the Pentagon. Yeah. Just help me out there. I've got to believe that the Pentagon is the most protected and documented, video protected, surveilled building in the history of the known universe, right? Turns out not. Well, I'm saying I think we just have two videos from the parking kiosk. Yeah. So that's the thing, and then that is weird, isn't it? Yeah. And then Building 7, it's just you just can't watch that and say that is the result of a fire that burned for 5 hours on 2 floors. You can't sell that to me. And that for years that was always met with, that is disrespecting the victims. And I'm like, how is that disrespecting the fallen heroes? How? If you're just looking for the truth behind what is clearly not how it was explained. Clearly. I mean, a 3-year-old could look at that and know, that looked like that hotel in Vegas that we watched them bring down intentionally, So that's how I met Alex. Was reaching out. Trust your eyes. You've always trusted your own perceptions. Yeah. But I did this in the middle of 2.5 at its peak, decided to be vocal about 9/11. Network in the studio, they were like, oh my gosh, there's actually a commercial, because one of the advantages we had with that show promotionally was the NFL. Because we were a Monday show, all of Sunday, all the CBS football games on Sunday were just, every 20 minutes it's a commercial for us. And that is like a built-in thing to keep the ratings and the momentum in the eyes and all of it. Yeah. And it was great. It's the best tool you could possibly have. So they made a commercial, like a promo, and it's probably on YouTube somewhere. Someone out there is going to find it, right? And it opens with, Charlie has a lot of questions. And then my character would be, hey, Alan, where'd you hide the beer? Hey, Mom, where'd I leave my car? Charlie's really curious. Hey, is that a silk bra or is that polyester? Whatever, like actual lines from the show to support Charlie's curiosity. Charlie Harper, right? Yeah. But Charlie in the world, like going into places that on a corporate level with a giant hit show, your lead actor is not supposed to be doing. So they tried to make it kind of like, hey, he's doing these things, but don't worry, he's still he's still in our world doing them, you know. They just it was kind of a brilliant piece of propaganda if you think about it.
Right? I was just thinking that it's a judo move. You take the energy and you pull it in your direction.
Right? Yeah. And I remember watching it, and I was flattered that they like put all that energy into this thing that I'm sure was upsetting a lot of people, and I never saw it again.
Did they ever say anything to you directly about your questions about 9/11?
Kind of, but not really.
Like
things like, maybe it's not the best time to be doing this kind of research, kid. Maybe, take a little pause for the cause. It was, yeah, but they didn't show up at my house,
right? Like
they did for going crazy on dope or testosterone. But yeah, they were nervous, and I did pull it back. I did organize a symposium in LA though. It's a 3-day event called A Weekend of Truth. Alex Jones was the key speaker in the middle of 2.5.
Seriously?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Did you feel that your job was at risk by doing that?
I thought the other stuff was more important than my job.
Really?
Yeah. No,
How many lead actors on hit shows put anything above their job?
Cult of One?
Yeah, none.
Well, my dad has at times gone heavily against the grain in the face of, the same type of pressure.
Yes.
But yeah, no, that was, and then when Alex and I got together and, I sent him that email that I told you about.
Yeah.
And my last line was 0 hour is upon us.
So just for people who weren't at breakfast here.
Yeah.
You said that you saw something he did and you just emailed him cold.
I did. I said, "Hi, Alex. I'm a fan for years. Perhaps you've heard of me. My name is Charlie Sheen." I said, "We have to talk. 0 hour is upon us." And he called in 10 minutes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then flew out to see you.
Yeah. And then we thought, okay, let's build a secret weapon. Let's do something that is unique and let's do something in the media. Let's use the media to try to, I guess this would have been 07, 08.
Yes.
So we got together and we wrote this piece called 20 Minutes with the President. And what it was a fictional retelling of this 20 minutes that I was granted by Obama. And it was me sitting down with him, asking him 20 questions about 9/11. And asking him that based on these the irrefutable bullet points that if he would consider activating, reopening a new 9/11 commission, and we put it online.
But you didn't actually get 20 minutes with Obama to ask.
No, it was all made up. But the research that Alex and I dug into that we because we could have been 100. It could have been 100 questions. Could have been 100 minutes with the president, and we drilled down into the 20 things that were really bulletproof. And so we published it online, and we let it kind of marinate for about 20 minutes. Before we added the following didn't actually take place, but we're hoping one day that it could, or that it might. Or so we did let kind of the hysteria build a little bit, that people thought, holy hell, man, did Sheen and Obama, this thing actually happened, and because we didn't want to prejudice it with it being a work of fiction right from send. And it was a little bit of a manipulation, but so what? Right? I mean,
did anyone from the Obama White House reach out to you?
There's a guy, he was the deputy press secretary. His name was Bill something. His name was Bill something. His name was Bill something.
Bill Burton?
Yes. Yeah, he called me.
I got the memory.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I knew his name was the same two initials. Yeah, he called me. And I said, how's it? Hey, thank you. And he's like, yeah, that thing that you and your buddy wrote, that meeting you're looking for, never going to happen. Those were his words. Never going to happen. I said, well, that's a shame because it really should. He said, okay, all right. Good luck to you. Have a nice day. It was like a 14-second phone call. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah. And I guess, and then Alex said, look, when this thing goes out, they're not going to debate any of it. Cause we told, it was Bill O'Reilly, it was Geraldo Rivera. We said, we'll sit down and debate you just on these 20 things. And nobody bit. And Alex said, look, they're just going to call you.
Nobody bit?
No, nobody took the challenge.
And you're at the height of the show's popularity.
Yeah. Nobody took the debate challenge.
You're one of the most famous actors in the world.
Right.
And you're offering talk show hosts the opportunity to be on their show.
Right.
To talk about something that is really interesting and controversial. Sure. And they say no?
They said no. Yeah.
What do you think? Now, what do you think that is, Charlie Sheen? That's a little weird.
It's a little weird.
Having been in the talk show business, I can promise you.
Yeah. It was.
Well, you should have called me, man. I would have done it in a second.
Yeah. Well,
probably scolded you for your ridiculous questions, but I still would have done it.
Right. Yeah. Are disrespecting the memory of the victims. Yeah. How dare we?
Finding out why they were murdered is disrespect.
Right. Wow.
No, I know it's insane. And I always force myself to admit that I had these views because I want to be less judgmental toward other people, and reminding yourself what an asshole you are is a really good way to be less judgmental, but also because it's a feature of human nature that we don't want to know the truth about things, actually.
Interesting.
Don't you think that's true? Well, it's clearly not true for you, but it has been true for me. I don't want to know.
Right.
I don't want to know that.
What do we then do with that information?
Trust me, I'm not defending that attitude at all. I'm ashamed that I had it, but I just think it's more calm. And I think of myself as like one of the most open-minded people I know. I mean, I am very, very open-minded. I'll entertain any possibility because I've seen so much that you can't not entertain any possibility.
Right.
But if I have felt that way, that means that it's probably just how people are built, and you have to convince them that they should know what's true. Sure. That the truth does matter, actually.
It does. But Alex said they're just going to paint you as crazy.
Well, of course.
But and I said, really? That's like they can't get more creative than that? He says, no, they're just going to call you crazy. And smash cut to like a week later, and it was literally Bill O'Reilly, and it was literally Bill O'Reilly, and it was literally Bill O'Reilly, and it was Geraldo, and they just dismissed me in one sentence. Well, Charlie Sheen's obviously crazy.
No.
Yeah. Someone can find that clip, I'm sure.
Handmaidens to Power. Wow, that is
it. Yeah.
That is.
But then I saw Bill O'Reilly outside of Dr. Oz one day. I saw him in the parking lot. He was just over there. I guess he was the second guest, or he'd already come out or something. And I started walking right up to him. He's kind of a big dude, right?
He's huge.
Yeah. He says, he's not going to punch me, are you? I said, no, I'm not stupid. I don't want to get my ass kicked. He's like, well, I said, I just came over to give you a handshake. Just want to shake your hand. He was like, oh, okay. Well, good to meet you. I said, nice to meet you. And he's like, yeah, sorry about the dubs. I said, I don't care. I don't care. It's, I get it. It's showbiz. That's what I said to him. It's showbiz.
What did he say?
He laughed. And then we both went in and had a pretty good episode with us. So, but it was a trip. He was like, he was on his heels a little bit.
Yeah. He's not as comfortable with human contact. Yeah, that's pretty disgraceful on all of our parts. And I don't think I would have called you crazy because objectively, it's not crazy to ask about why the greatest tragedy in American history happened. I
didn't think it was.
It's not.
And it's still not.
Shutting people down for asking sincere questions is, very hard to defend, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
But anyway, that's the Alex Jones kind of origin story, you know. That's the Alex Jones kind of origin story, you know.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I just wish I could tell you where I actually acquired the videos, and it had to have been online, like mail order stuff.
So you really cared.
Yeah. Yeah, and the stuff that I'd seen, he just was a guy that was just on the constant hunt for the truth and just, you know, for the right reasons.
Yes.
Not to exploit it, but to expose it and share it and do something about it.
I think that's all noble. And I think that of him, you know. And I think, by the way, he's been vindicated by time. I don't think quite as many people mock Alex Jones as crazy anymore.
They can't. Yeah.
No, that's exactly right. He called 9/11. Really? Did you call 9/11? I don't think you did.
No, I didn't.
Nobody did.
Nobody did.
Alex Jones did. So he called 9/11. Really? Did you call 9/11? I don't think you did.
No, I didn't.
Nobody did.
Nobody did.
Alex Jones did. So he called 9/11. Really? Did you call 9/11? I don't think you did.
Yeah, I didn't.
Nobody did.
Nobody did.
Alex Jones did. So right there, we know that he's worth taking seriously. In fact, it's worth asking, how did you do that? I've asked him many times, never gotten a straight answer, but we know for a fact he did. It's documented. So that's incredible.
My dad spent some time with him.
Really?
Yeah, because we asked Dad to read the president role because we wrote it like a play when it gets to the thing about the actual conversation that we have. And we wanted to hear it out loud to see if it sounded like legit exchanges of dialogue. And he was currently playing the president, right? So he and I played the scene. And so
you both had big shows at the same time.
Yeah, on the same lot. We'd visit each other like at lunch. Not often because we were both super busy, but yeah. They overlapped by I think 2 seasons, maybe
what lot?
3. Warner.
Yeah.
The Warner Brothers lot, yeah. And then, so Dad spent some time with Alex, and anytime he'd leave the room, Dad was like, I don't know, man. I think this guy's ex-CIA. I think he's too smart. He knows everything. I think he's got a background that it's like this thing. Yeah. Which was him complimenting Alex.
Well, and it's the way that people talk now. It was not the way people talked then. Right. So that's interesting. I mean, now that just sounds like Twitter, but then people took things at face value.
Right.
I mean,
and then I listened to Bill Cooper, and it was like incredible stuff about 9/11's coming and like all this really smart stuff. And I was like, God, I didn't know this guy was this smart. Because a lot of what he did was he was a great radio host, amazing atmosphere, almost maybe even as good as somebody like another late great Art Bell. I mean, once he was dead, and people were telling me, like, Jones ripped off William Cooper. You know, it's William Cooper. So I said, well, let me hear who this guy is. So I went and listened to archives of it, because the internet was just getting rid of archives then. And I was like, man, this guy's amazing.
Let me ask you one thing. What did you think of Bill Cooper?
Well, Bill Cooper was an alcoholic, and I didn't ever try to attack him. He got mad because the network put me on at night, and he thought, and I'd really never heard his show because I didn't listen to a lot of shortwave. I was busy. But I'd seen his book. It was all about flying saucers, so I didn't finish it. Somebody given it to me at Access TV like in 96. And then he really started attacking me in 98 because he was an egomaniac. And, you know, talking about flying saucers in the ocean and aliens and all this stuff. And you know, talking about flying saucers in the ocean and aliens and all this stuff. And you know, talking about flying saucers in the ocean and aliens and all this stuff. And I've tried to never attack him, but people resurrected old tapes he edited of me and stuff. And I just feel sorry for Bill, and he really let him set him up and, you know, ran out there and you know, helped him kill him. And he really let him set him up and, you know, ran out there and you know, helped him kill him. And he really let him set him up and, you know, ran out there and you know, helped him kill him. And it's just a big distraction, sir. I don't talk about flying saucers and all that stuff, man. I'm sorry. And so, I mean, it's all like an ego thing, like it's 2 football teams and who's for who. I'm sorry for Bill. But anybody, I mean, he was a liar, though. You know, one time I had him on the radio, and he was cussing, and I delayed him once. Then I said, please don't cuss again. I delayed him again. And I said, okay, thank you. Bye-bye. And then he went around saying he never cussed. The guy cussed on air. He cussed at everybody. He was yelling at the board op going, you effing little idiot. You know, I told you to call this number to effing have me on. And then he says that he didn't, you know, he was a pathetic drunk. And I don't like attacking people, but if you really want to know, that's it. Is that your answer? You like that answer? Anything else, sir?
I believe you. I mean, I know you're putting out a lot of truth out there, and I'll tell you the best.
Look, man, some dead drunk, and I drink a few beers too. But the point is, he would get falling down drunk. Okay, and I was nice. He said the IRS was after him. He needed help. I call him up and I go, "Hey, this is Alex Jones. I'd like to interview, get you some help with the IRS." And he goes, "I've heard you little SHIT. You don't know as much as I do." And I said, "Well, I'd like to have you on and help you out with the IRS." I mean, that's what I get for helping him, is him doing that. And then you call me 7 years after he's dead and ask me about him. It isn't about Bill Cooper, okay? It's about Northcom, the New World Order. Get our heads screwed on straight. Deal with the issues. I ask callers to call in and talk about what we're going to do about what's coming down on us. Not a dead alcoholic crazy person.
And then I forget what was the other question the caller was asking? What was the other question? Listen, I didn't even know who William Cooper was. I wasn't into UFOs. I wasn't into stuff like that. And then I got on air. I was like a John Birch Society type guy, a Ron Paul type guy. And then people would say, hey, get William Cooper on, blah, blah. So I got him on as a guest a few times, whatever. I never even listened to shortwave radio except the like ham radio stuff with my uncle a few times. So then once I got really popular on shortwave and the internet, he was like, you know, I'm bad news and blah, blah, blah. And I just ignored it. And the first time somebody mailed me a tape, it's like Alex Jones wears ruby nipple bobbers. And you don't know what a nipple bobber was at that time. Now I do. And then he got killed at his house, reportedly screaming at kids on his property, waving guns around, whatever really happened. And then I listened to Bill Cooper, and it was like, incredible stuff about 9/11's coming. Incredible stuff about 9/11's coming. Incredible stuff about 9/11's coming. And like all this really smart stuff. And I was like, God, I know this guy was this smart. Because a lot of what he did was he was a great radio host, amazing atmosphere, almost maybe even as good as somebody like another late, great Art Bell. I mean, once he was dead, and people were telling me, like, Jones ripped off William Cooper. You know, it's William Cooper. So I said, well, let me hear who this guy is. So I went and listened to archives of it, because the internet was just getting rid of archives then. And I was like, man, this guy's amazing. So I think William Cooper was amazing. I think he was a tortured soul, a veteran, highly decorated gunboat captain. I learned all about him later. But I'm my own guy, and I do my own show, and I'm not the UFO guy. But I learned the media gave him attention for UFOs. He didn't really cover that very much. Media gave him attention for UFOs. He didn't really cover that very much. Media gave him attention for UFOs. He didn't really cover that very much. So he was a great guy, amazing, and I have nothing but respect for William Cooper. We'll be right back straight ahead with your phone calls, Infowars.com, News Wars. Look, I'm not in the business of getting in fights with William Cooper. But people tried to set him up against me because he did some jealousy broadcasts. And most people that attack me aren't government agents. They're mad. And he started saying that I was more popular than him. I never heard his radio show. Never heard it. And you can go back to my early TV shows. You know, I was citing G. Edward Griffin, Ron Paul. Those were the people. If you see those first shows, I was pretty close to a mainline Republican. Kind of like Republicans today that are starting to get into Ron Paul. That was about the level I was at. I mean, I knew about the Federal Reserve. I knew about global banks. I knew about monopoly capitalism. I knew socialism and fascism were controlled by the banks. I'd read Gary Allen's. You know who woke me up? It's Gary Allen. It's Bob Chapman. Bob Chapman, published that book. He paid for it. That's who woke me up. And so I wasn't into UFOs. I've never covered UFOs. That's not me. He was a UFOologist. That's what he did. He was a UFOologist. That's what he did. He was a UFOologist. That's what he did. And he was on WBCQ that no one can hear in Texas.
And by the time after I'd interviewed him, trying to help him out when I heard the IRS was after him, the age of the internet had begun, people said, hey, you better know who this guy is. Here are audio recordings of him attacking you. So I was sent cassette tapes that were recorded off shortwave that I could barely understand. So I didn't really listen to much of it. I popped one in, and he said that I'm a transvestite that wears ruby nipple rings, and I thought it was a joke. And then I finally read the Behold a Pale Horse I've been mailed. I've been mailed a lot of them, and it was it said that Jesus was sacrificed by aliens, and there were holograms and flying saucer submarines, and I mean, I couldn't get through it. And so I'm forced to just explain to people that William Cooper could attack me all he wanted to, and that's fine. It was all just because Genesis put my show on at night and he flipped out. Now, since then, I've heard a lot of it and thought I was going up against him. I had never heard him. I don't have time to listen to cassette tapes people send me. One time driving up to Waco to build the memorial church for those that died, I popped it in the cassette in my Tahoe and was just like, you know, I mean, those recordings are out there. You know, he said I was at a public event being given an award dressed as a transvestite, and Jesus is an alien. I mean, this was just, Jesus was being filmed with aliens, holograms. I mean, just lunatic crazy. I mean, just lunatic nuts. I had no idea. And I was talking to Jason Burmis about this the other night. He goes, yeah, he went and printed it up, actually. In fact, get Jason's here, and I cleaned off the desk. Get him to print the passages where aliens filmed Jesus being crucified by the other aliens. I mean, folks, you know, if that, it's just so crazy to me that's what COINTELPRO used to try to discredit me, is that guy who everybody I talked to said that you would call him up and he would just start screaming and cussing at you. And he was well known for that. And just so out of his mind that I don't think he was an agent, though. I think he was a complete lunatic. And, you know, I cover real issues, things I can prove, documented facts I can cover. And I don't like speaking ill of the dead. But from the grave, that guy attacks me. And, I mean, have people really looked? I mean, it's like that there's some, what's his name? See, I haven't seen much of it, but I've got YouTube hooked up to a TV set in my garage. And for about a week or two, I was addicted to watching videos attacking me so I could run and watch him and laugh. But there's a guy, oh, man, I forget his name. He writes books about the Vatican running everything. And I've exposed the Vatican. I talk about other for world government and New World Order and all this. But no, he says I'm a Vatican assassin agent. It'll pop in my head in a minute, and I'm this super evil guy and all this stuff with no evidence, no proof. And then I actually went and watched him, and he said that Catholic priests doing black magic, fire atom bombs, and that they drop them out of flying saucers on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I mean, this is the most howling at the moon, lunatic stuff. And then I get emails the few times I've mentioned that saying, yes, it's true, and you're an evil devil, and you know how to create A-bombs. I mean, these people are, and they mean it, folks. I know how to go zzz, A-bomb, power, power, pew. And I mean, you know, it's crazy. Anyways, I said I'd take your calls. It's just, we're going off down side issues now. I just get sad for people that spend the majority of their time believing these people. And look, I have nothing against Jewish people. I even have Jewish friends who are really nice, great people, and went to college with Jewish friends. I had an Iraqi friend in high school and college, too. You know, Iraqis are nice people. Had black friends, have black friends. But they Photoshop my head and say it's real on somebody's body, and then put me next to a Jewish lady and put me in a photo with rabbis and say it's real. And people say, respond to this. This is your Jewish wedding. It's not true. I mean, I can't spend all day responding to this. Look, I'm not into holograms of Jesus being crucified. I'm not into flying submarines. I'm not into chupacabras, and I'm not bashing people that are. They can be into that all day. But I am who I am. I am what I say I am. And I'm faithful to everybody 110%. I'm the real deal. Just like you're the real deal. And you're meant to get confused and spend all your time and energy wondering if I'm real or not, so that you wonder if you're real. Instead of going out and taking action, warning people, getting involved, going to these county commissioner meetings, city council meetings, when your congressman comes to town, everything I've been saying to show that we, the majority, don't agree with the issues. I try to cover actual issues and trends. Instead, half of our movement spends their time talking about me and whether I'm real or not. And that's great if I was just a Hollywood star and it was whether I was on the tabloids or not. But it's bad. So it's good for me overall because any publicity is good publicity, but it's bad for the overall awakening. That you're not out there doing positive, meaningful, real work, that you're caught up in Operation Chaos, that you're caught up, that's a real FBI program still going on today, to get us all fighting. So I hate saying bad things about Mr. Cooper, but it's just the truth. He wrote this stuff, and I influenced him clearly to get more credible now that I've researched it, because his UFO stuff wasn't working. And always changing his stories about the aliens and stuff in the meetings and wild stuff. And then he changed all the story down the road and became the big patriot leader, and he's going to fight the New World Order, and he's the only leader, and everybody else is full of baloney, and nobody's good but him. Remember that? Because, again, and I think he went crazy. But I've seen local talk show hosts that have 10,000 listeners go crazy. They can't handle the power. Me, I become more humble as we gain momentum. And so I trust in God. We'll take more calls when we get back. Next hour coming up. Huge blitz of key info. Stay with us. I mean, he was a liar, though. One time I had him on the radio, and he was cussing, and I delayed him once. Then I said, please don't cuss again. I delayed him again, and I said, okay, thank you, bye-bye. And then he went around saying he never cussed. The guy cussed on air. He cussed at everybody. Government is in very, very deep shit. We cover real info. We don't play games. We're just showing people may I have your attention, please? For your safety, is there any bags or anything? No, there's an open border, bitch. There's goddamn all kind of people being shipped in, you whore. You fucking want me to tell you if I saw something? Yeah, I saw something. I saw total tyranny being brought in. I saw foreign threats being used to take my freedom. Sure, let's listen to her. Now it's in Spanish. Do you see anything suspicious? Yeah. I got a hijacked government out of control, working with terrorists, and then using them to take my freedoms. I'm tired of it. You're that stupid twit.
Yep, I'm that twit.
You look like such a weak little punk, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Alex.
Hey, take care, weakling.
Thank you.
Why don't you come up to New York next time I'm up there? I'll be up there this year.
I'll see you.
I'll be there.
I'll see
you. Hear me? I'm going to be there.
I'll be there the third time this year.
Good. You come up and talk to me.
All right, we'll have a little discussion.
Good, punk.
All right.
You little coward, you piece of crap. Hey, coward, I'm going to be in New York. You hear me, punk?
Hey, Alex. Alex, it's all right, man. You can calm down, dude.
No, fuck you. Fuck you.
No,
this is the real radio show, punk. You just go ahead and come up there, you little cowardly soft twit. I dare you to come up to me in New York, you little punk. You little weak punk. Hey, you're a coward, and you're not going to be there, you little punk. Let him go.
I bet you I will.
Okay, punk, I'll see you there.
This is not a drill! This is some serious shit!
All right. What? What are you talking about? What's going on?
You're wasting a goddamn...
What did I call you? I called you a big fucking pussy.
I just don't prey on my own species, dumbass. Because I don't want my family getting treated the way you treat people. Because what comes around goes around, dumbass. I've seen, when I've gotten out of community pools and go, I got to go to the bathroom, people go, wow, you go to the restroom to piss in the pool? I've talked to grown men, they go, I just pee right in the pool. I'm like, I don't want to swim around in your piss. I go to the bathroom to piss. And excuse me talking like that, but that's the fundamentals of what I boil this down to. The Muslims from third world countries, they're used to crapping in a river. So they get in the German swimming pool and they all start crapping in the pool. You globalists think you're so advanced. I'm civilized. I don't take a crap in the pool. Madeleine Albright, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Al Gore, David Rockefeller, all of you take collective dumps in the pool. Because you think you're in a different pool than us. You think you're up on the castle on the hill. The truth is, you're in the same pool as us, idiots. You reap what you sow. You understand that? I don't want to swim in your piss. Go make a joke out of that, Jimmy Kimmel. Watch what happens.
No, she's a goddess! She's saving Earth! Prison right here. Damn it. She needs to be in prison now. This church evil! No! No! Get away from me, racist! She's God! He's on loose! He's on loose! Never stop me! Racist!
Sometimes people bitch and complain that sometimes I do something with my shirt off. It's because I'm real and I don't care. And I'm too lazy to go out there and put a shirt on before I put my jogging outfit on and go for a run. Stinking government and the social engineers that are to blame, and they shouldn't have guns anymore. Bill O'Reilly shouldn't have bodyguards. I'm sick of that sniveler.
Yes.
When he was a radio host, he used to have the police called and would send private bodyguards to people's houses in Florida and New York where he lives. He had caller ID and talk radio. Nobody else has that. And would literally, if someone disagreed, send bullies to their house. O'Reilly, you send bullies to my house, I'm going to break their jaw. And if you try that with me, punk, I don't care if you're a thug who wants to bully people. Okay? You got to be ashamed of yourself. After all the bullying Irish went through, you turned into a big fat bully. You're a big fat bully, scumbag. I don't like you. You understand that? I'm sick of these people. Damn liar. Son of a... All right, go ahead. You finish up, Knight. I'm going to the calls.
Well, as Bill O'Reilly is putting out all the basic head fakes that the left uses against the Second Amendment, saying, well, what weapons of war are we not going to let people have?
Mao Zedong killed 50 million people! And they want to sit around and tell me about Saddam Hussein for some war for $4 trillion in oil? Oh, we wouldn't do that over oil. We're just the big badasses in the 100-story buildings that own and run the nuclear weapons, that own your private prisons, that they're going to stick you and your family in as soon as they find you doing something wrong, some bullshit law they created.
I'm like, shocked by it, so I'm up here bashing it because I don't like gay people. I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? And I'm just some hillbilly stock guy that I'm like a dog when you walk by its house, it barks at you. I just have basic instincts. I read books and stuff where we put fluoride in the water to lower their IQs and make them dumb and more manageable. And I go, man, that's really creepy and horrible. Who the hell would want to do that to anybody? Well, you're just not an elitist like us. No, I'm not a psychopath like you. But if I metaphysically get my hands around your neck, you'll find out I'm a lot meaner than you are.
Bam! Bam! You're a big badass! You don't want to hear the truth because you're a little coward. You can't handle the truth. You don't want to hear about 50 million people. You want to sit there. Hey, I'll be sitting right there when you're done, boy. That's right, you little weasel. I called you a little punk. Yeah. That's a coward right there, folks. That's a coward. That's a punk bitch.
So the FCC is going to come in and protect the internet. You're going to like, don't let me hurt you. Break your legs. You like your daughter? So, listen to me, you little punk. You're going to do what we say. We're going to break your legs. Next, you know what we're going to do. You like living like that? Well, you're about to, okay?
Your little note cards.
Yeah, okay.
I just gave you FBI statistics
Fine.
that violent crime and gun crime is down over 20%.
Alex, let me just ask you
And
this.
you want to go to little factoids.
No, they're not little
Anybody can
factoids.
pull those up. Listen.
Do you know what...
Do you have a bodyguard?
Alex.
Why do you have bodyguards?
I don't have a bodyguard.
Yeah, I've seen you on the news with them.
don't
Don't you
have
want
a
to protect
bodyguard.
your wife from hoodlums, or you want to call the police?
Let me ask you this question.
Why does Dianne Feinstein
Alex.
tell 60
Alex.
Minutes that she
Okay,
plans
Alex.
to try
Alex.
to take Mr. and Mrs. America's guns? Have you
Stop
seen that
talking
cut?
over me.
You
Let
guys
me-
want to disarm all of America.
No, I don't.
Dianne Feinstein's
don't.
bill does.
I don't.
Gun confiscation.
No, let me clarify for you. You don't seem to understand
First
what
you
it is I
register,
want.
then you confiscate. It's
No.
always done the same.
Here's what the campaign on this
Well, here,
shows.
give me your little cue cards and I'll answer your questions for
What
you.
was the weapon used at Sandy Hook?
I've already gone over that and already answered it for
We
you.
haven't talked about Sandy Hook.
No, again,
What was the weapon?
It's a 223 M4.
Right.
Again, but
It's an-
statistically,
right.
they're using very low percentage of
Right,
shootings.
but
Period.
are you
but
seeing-
you guys?
are you seeing a
people
pattern?
wouldn't go swimming because the movie Jaws,
biggest-
even though great white
Alex,
sharks kill 5 people a
Alex,
year.
Alex.
You're trying to scare people.
Let me say something.
There's no metal shark in the water.
They act like the moron villains in Time Bandits or something that live in hell. Master! I mean, they are so dumb. And most cops aren't that dumb, but it doesn't matter. They're recruiting the biggest idiots on the planet that are just so stupid they're invincible. You can't intellectually reach out to them. You can't explain their own constitution to them. They think it's a demon. They think they find a rattlesnake in the back of her trunk. We can't be doing wrong running a checkpoint. It's routine. We use the word routine. It's a routine forced inoculation. It's a routine Jocelyn Elders Surgeon General wants to teach 5-year-olds how to masturbate. Just to have a creepy woman in a naval outfit on TV telling teachers to reach down and help kids masturbate. There's nothing wrong there. There's nothing wrong telling 5-year-olds that they've now got a bathroom if they want to be a girl or a boy. Or there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong in having U.S. Army soldiers march in red high heels to teach them how to be feminist. I mean, what in the world? It's all just how much can they make us do? They look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal. And when they got back, there was only like 11 people alive of the 200 and something crew, and the entire ship was rotting down to the waterline. Science, medicine, culture the world's ever seen. You Satanists want to sacrifice the West. You want to kill the beautiful goddess that is the West. You people are enemies, and we're going to get your asses, and we know what you're up to, and we're coming for you. Fox is where MSNBC was 2 or 3 years ago. Now MSNBC is foam at the mouth deception and is so filled with hate of you and your family, they can't even control it.
But my point is, they put that motherfucker in power.
Oh, I said, it's all right, buddy. It's girls' night out. And the woman behind the counter is like, you bet it's girls' night out. You'd be surprised what we women can do. Okay, that's it. You're getting a 5-minute speech and a loud one. Oh, I bet you like how your culture's falling apart around here. Now your men don't act like men. It's because you don't let them act like men. Did you know thousands of years ago in Rome, they used the women as the house slaves to keep the men down and spy on them? Do you like the psychological warfare? She starts shaking. Actually, my uncle said that, and I don't understand it. I go, good, listen to your uncle. I'm sick of it, and I'm tired of it. All right, I'm sorry, Tim. Anything else? It starts with a war growl. It starts with getting fired up, staring at yourself in the mirror and showing some teeth and saying, I'm a human being. I have dignity. I'm going to resist. I'm going to start recognizing the propaganda. I'm going to break free from it. I'm not going to fight with my family. I'm going to organize with my family and realize we're under attack by the social engineers. And I'm not going to fight with my neighbors. We're going to organize. Humanity's going to come together. Ah! Ah! We know we're under attack. We know it. We're breaking the conditioning. Ah! Ah! We're coming for you, globalist. Ah! Coming for you. Coming for you. We know what you're doing. I'm sorry. I'm the weirdo because I'm sitting in the tree going, a chimpanzee can't talk, so they just go, you understand that? See, I'm normal. You're not normal. What I want covered tomorrow night? I want this covered tomorrow night. I want GMOs covered. I want what's going on covered. I want to fight these son of a bitches. I don't want to have half measures. I don't want to die and have them win. I'm sick of their crap. And if you're not with them, cops and military, then you will declare that you're with the Republic now. And don't tell me that I'm a weirdo because I'm upset about this, and I should only go get upset about my favorite football team winning or losing. Listen, I know what tyranny means. I know the bankers are putting poison in our food and water. I know the bankers have stolen $8.5 trillion. I know we're under War Powers Act. I know they're hurting us. I know they're carrying out New World Order. I know they staged those terror attacks. You know what it's like to gut up to this and go out every day and go past the peer pressure and come out day one and say 9/11 was an inside job and lose most of the radio stations I was on. You know what it's like to go to sleep every night knowing you work for a bunch of psychotic killers and you bastards are probably going to end up killing me one day. You know what it's like knowing you've ruined my life. You know what it's like, you sons of bitches. I'm tired of your crap. You commit evil, you're part of an evil system, and we're standing up against you. And the Republic is going to defeat you in the end. Some of us won't make it personally through this, but a lot of us are. And in the end, you are going to be brought to justice for all the kids you kidnapped for CPS, all you CPS workers, all you corrupt bureaucrats, all of you that have had your way with innocent children over and over again, who think your evil's invincible. You're not invincible, and God is going to deal with you. And you are cursed to hell. Oh my God, it's so ridiculous.
Before we get started, I have to clear up a little discrepancy here. Apparently the other night, or within the last week, because I've been getting a lot of email about this, and I even received one telephone call. Apparently somebody called the Alex Jones broadcast and asked him why he didn't have me on the air, or asked him something about me. Alex Jones said he had me on the air once before, several years ago, and had to cut me off the air because of the foul language that I used. So on the air tonight, I'm going to tell you, Alex Jones, you are a bold-faced, miserable, stinking little coward liar. Now let me say that again so there's no mistake about it. You can all tell Alex Jones that I said this, and I suspect he's listening because he does. Alex Jones, you are a bold-faced, stinking, rotten little coward liar. I was only on the Alex Jones show one time. It was years ago when I didn't know who he was, when I didn't realize what a liar and a coward and a sensationalist bullshit artist that he is. He was on one little FM station down in Texas. He wasn't on all the stuff that he's on now. And I agreed to be on his broadcast. That's when I was doing guest appearances on broadcasts, years ago. I was not cut off. I did not use any kind of foul language whatsoever. He treated me very well, and I stayed on for the whole show. Some of you in Texas know that that's true because you heard the broadcast and you taped it. Later, when I found out who Alex Jones was and what he was doing to the truth, and what a cowardly liar and sensationalist he really is, every time he called me after that, I have always refused to appear on his broadcast. Absolutely refused to lend him any credibility whatsoever by appearing on his broadcast. And that made him very angry. I've also revealed him for the lying sensationalist bullshit artist that he is by every once in a while bringing to your attention the lies and the deceit and the rumors that he spreads over the airwaves that are not good for any of us, and they're not good for the nation. They are especially not good for militia and patriots. The most disgusting broadcast he ever did was on New Year's Eve, the year 2000, the New Year's Eve, 1999, bringing in the year 2000, in which he went completely out of his mind and claimed that Russia had launched intercontinental ballistic missiles with multiple warheads at the United States of America and actually panicked millions of people who were putting their children and their belongings in their cars and heading for the hills. Now, there's lots of things that can be said about me. Nobody needs to lie about me. Sometimes I am irritating. Sometimes I absolutely will not suffer fools and am just as rude as I can be. Nobody has to lie about me, Alex Jones. So I suggest that the next time somebody calls your broadcast and asks them about me, you tell the truth. There's lots of truth that you can tell about me. But don't ever lie on me, buddy, because I'll chop you off at your ankles. I will chew you up. I will spit you out for the lying, stinking, rotten little coward that you are. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all I have to say about Mr. Sensationalist, lying, rumor-mongering, bullshit artist, Alex Jones. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yeah, hi, Mr. Cooper.
Hi.
Listen, that Alex Jones interview was directly after you published the Veritas June 26, 1998 issue about the Cooper family being targeted by the feds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah,
And
back in 1990. Did he kick me off the air?
No, he's a liar, and you've pointed it out, and I heard that interview, and you were nothing but cordial.
Yeah. Well, that's the truth.
That's the truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Virginia.
Bye-bye.
Alex Jones is a miserable, rotten, little, stinking, cowardly, bull-faced liar.
And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, you had Bill Cooper on, and you said that you let him go because he was cussing. And then people go listen to the radio interview, and they don't hear cussing. Then people go listen to the radio interview, and they don't hear cussing. And I appreciate your call. Have a good day.
That's right, folks. I'm your man. The only thing you ever get from the Hour of the Time is the truth. Now, I want you to understand that this little series that we're doing is nothing personal against Alex Jones or anybody else. But I happen to know for a fact, absolute fact, and listen to me very carefully, that people who practice this kind of broadcasting and claim to be an American patriot do nothing but discredit all of us eventually. It's wrong. It is absolutely wrong. This guy would take a call, and some caller would report something, and instead of saying, well, we're not, like I do on this broadcast, when somebody calls in and wants to tell a rumor, I tell them, no, we don't do that on this broadcast. You want to call me tomorrow, I'll check it out, and if it turns out to be true and the listening audience needs to hear it, then we'll make arrangements for you to call in, and it can be your story, and we'll do it. But that's the only way it's done on this broadcast. All of these other people, they take phone calls. And a lot of these phone calls are people spreading rumors. And these rumors, 99% of them turn out to be wrong. And it's wrong to allow that to happen. Especially when the host takes it and runs with it. Without any checking, without any calling, without any research, without anything. This is one of the people who pulls faxes off the fax machine and reads them over the air. This is the one of people who indiscriminately reads Associated Press wire reports and ABC wire reports and news releases and press releases without checking them out. Associated Press, UPI, especially ABC, have been well known to plant fake, phony, and false stories. We've all discovered that over the years. No radio host who reports the news, especially on a day when he knows that a good segment of the population is afraid that we've been told to expect the collapse of civilization as we know it, and all kinds of things like that, to participate in this kind of fear-mongering. Listen very carefully, folks. This will frost you, and then we'll talk about it. Let me stop the tape at certain portions, and we'll talk about it then. Listen very carefully. This is just snippets taken from the first 45 minutes of the Alex Jones show on December the 31st, New Year's Eve. This is news. What I'm reporting here to you is hard news. This could have resulted in the shutdown of the whole country, the declaration of martial law, mass hysteria and panic by millions of people. And this is the guy, along with a few others, but this is the main guy who was... Listen carefully.
Cash machines are failing in Britain and now other European countries. They're finding large amounts of explosives in France. Vladimir Putin, who is known as Vladimir the Ruthless, and using all his profanity on national TV, you name it. We won't read the profanity here, but we've got it. This person is on an unbelievable power trip and resembles a demon. He is a creature of the IMF and the World Bank and international communism. He is a former KGB head. And this information is vital, ladies and gentlemen. We are seeing the New World Order really come out in full force. More wars than have been in the last 50 years are going on right now. The war in Chechnya is raging in Grozny with, reports of hundreds of thousands dying.
Is that true, folks? Are there more wars going on right now than in the last 50 years? Are there hundreds of thousands of people dying right now in Chechnya? Listen to this. This man is just making it up right out of his head as he goes along.
20 to 40,000 civilians trapped in the city. Russian Hinds are being shot down. Tanks are being blown to bits. Massive Grad unguided rocket attacks are being launched on the city indiscriminately right now. Air and artillery bombardments as well. It's absolutely out of control. It is pandemic, ladies and gentlemen. I'll give you the news first on Y2K. The newest developments. The Pennsylvania nuclear plant has been shut down. One of the main systems transferring the power from it failed, but they say it's not a Y2K problem. And the things I'm experiencing here in Austin, Texas, the shelves are empty of water and some gas stations are running out of fuel. Here in Central Texas and in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the shortwave is basically down, ladies and gentlemen. Went off right as I went on the air. The big news on Y2K. Then we'll start going to your call.
What he's saying is deception. It's fear-mongering. It scared the hell out of literally millions of people, and it got worse.